Good day everyone, my name is Paul Matthew and I'll be reporting the victims of war. So before we proceed to the victims of war, let us know that war is an enduring and devastating phenomenon that has profound and far-reaching impacts on individuals and societies. Beyond the strategic and political dimensions, the human cost of war is enormous, with victims suffering physical, psychological, and economic hardship. Okay, so we're gonna dive in my topic, which is victims of war and the human cost of war. So in contemporary conflicts, civilians often bear the greatest burden. So according to the United Nations 2019, civilians are increasingly targeted in warfare, resulting in mass casualties and displacement. Homes and infrastructures are destroyed, leading to their living conditions and humanitarian crisis. For instance, the Syrian conflict has displaced millions, creating one of the largest refugee crises in recent history. Civilians also endure significant psychological trauma. Children are particularly vulnerable, experiencing long-term effects from witnessing violence and losing family members. So, studies have shown that children in war zones suffer from high rates of PTSD, anxiety, and depression. And this is according to Bentancourt et al. 2013. So next one is soldier, the silent sufferers. While the soldiers are trained for combat, the physical and psychological impacts of warfare are severe and often lifelong. Combat injuries can result in permanent disabilities, impacting soldiers' quality of life and their ability to reintegrate into civilian society. Moreover, mental health issues such as PTSD, depression, and anxiety are prevalent among veterans. And this is by Hughes et al. 2004. So the challenges faced by soldiers extend beyond the battlefield. Many struggles with social reintegration, employment, and accessing mental health services. The stigma associated with the mental health issues further complicates their recovery and reintegration. So this is by Tanyelian and J. Cox, 2008. So women and children, the vulnerable populations. So women and children are particularly susceptible to the ravages of war. Women often face sexual violence and exploitation, with reports indicating widespread abuse in conflict zones. This is by UN Women of 2012. The burden of caring for families in precarious conditions also falls disproportionately on women. So children in war zones suffer from disrupted education, recruitment into armed forces, and severe psychological impacts. The long-term consequences include developmental delays, mental health issues, and a loss of future opportunities. So this is cited by Mackal, 1996. Okay, so the passage discusses the impact of contemporary conflicts on civilians, soldiers, women, and children. Civilians, particularly in wars like the Syrian conflict, suffer mass casualties, displacement, and destroyed infrastructure, leading to humanitarian crisis. They also endure psychological trauma, with children especially vulnerable to PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Soldiers, soldiers, despite their training, face lifelong physical and mental health issues such as PTSD and depression. They are struggling with reintegration into society and accessing mental health care. And lastly, women and children are the most vulnerable, with women frequently experiencing sexual violence and children facing disrupted education, recruitment into armed forces, and long-term psychological impacts. So these experiences lead to developmental delays and loss of future opportunities. So let us dive into the types of suffering. Number one is physical suffering. War inflicts severe physical suffering, including injuries from gunfire, bombings, and other combat-related activities. The destruction of healthcare infrastructure exacerbates the situation, making it difficult for victims to receive adequate medical care. Many injuries result in long-term disabilities, further straining already limited resources. So this cited by Roberts et al. In 2009. Second one is physiological trauma. The physiological trauma impact of war is profound and enduring. Victims frequently experience PTSD, anxiety, and depression. The constant exposure to violence, loss of loved ones, and the uncertainty of survival create deep psychological scars. So the children in particular are severely affected with lifelong implications for their mental health and development. This is cited by Betancourt et al. 2013. So the third one is economic hardship. War devastates economies, leading to widespread poverty and unemployment. The destruction of infrastructure and disruption of markets hinder economic activities. Displaced populations face significant challenges in finding employment and accessing basic services. These economic hardships extend beyond the immediate conflict period, affecting long-term development. This is cited by Collier 2003. So, the three major impacts of war include physiological suffering, psychological trauma, and economic hardship. So the number one is physical suffering. So the war causes direct physical harm through injuries from combat, bombings, and violence. The destruction of healthcare system worsens this by limiting access to medical care. So many injured individuals suffer in a long-term disabilities, which increases the demand on already strained healthcare and support systems. And number two is the physiological trauma. War has a profound psychological impact. We all know that. So, leading to conditions such as PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder anxiety, and depression. So, constant exposure to violence and loss, especially for children, results in deep, long-lasting, and emotional mental scars. And the last one is economic hardship. So the war disrupts economies by destroying infrastructure and displacing populations, which leads to widespread poverty and unemployment. So this economic disruption lasts long after the conflict, hindering the future development and making recovery difficult for the affected societies. So overall, war has a lasting effects on individuals and communities, not only physically but also mentally and economically, leaving scars that last long after the conflict ends. Let's move on into social and educational disruptions. Okay, so number one is erosion on social fabric. Erosion on social fabric. Conflict disrupts social structures and educational systems. Schools are often destroyed or repurposed for military use, depriving children of education and perpetuating cycles of poverty and violence. So this cited by UNICEF 2018. Social cohesion is eroded as communities are torn apart, trust is broken, and traditional social structures are disrupted. And the next one is impacts on society. Number one is erosion of social fabric. The social fabric of communities is severely affected by war. Trust within communities is eroded as individuals and groups became polarized. The The displacement of populations disrupts traditional social structures and networks, leading to a breakdown of social cohesion. So, the long-term effects include increased crime rates, social unrest, and difficulties in rebuilding post-conflict societies. So, this cited by Calivas 2006. The second one is strain on healthcare systems. So, war places immense strain on healthcare systems. The destruction of hospitals and medical facilities, coupled with the influx of injured individuals, overwhelms healthcare providers. The lack of resources and medical personnel further exacerbates the situation. Infectious diseases often spread rapidly in conflict zones due to poor sanitation and overcrowded living conditions. So this is cited by Leaning and Guha Sapir, 2013. Impediment to development. So war impedes long-term development efforts. The destruction of infrastructure, loss of human capital, and diversion of resources towards military expenditure hinder economic growth. Post-conflict reconstruction is a slow and arduous process requiring significant investment and international assistance. The long-term development prospects of war-affected regions are severely compromised by compromise. This is cited by Collier 2003. So global implications. Ito. The impact of war on victims has a global implications. Refugee crisis spill over borders, placing strain on neighboring countries and the international community. The economic instability caused by war affects global markets, leading to increased prices and economic uncertainty. There is also a moral imperative for the global community to address the suffering of war victims and work towards preventing future conflicts, and this is cited by UNHCR 2020. So it discusses how war and conflict disrupt societies, focusing on these key areas. The number one is erosion of social fabric. War weakens social bonds within communities. Schools, which play a vital role in education, are often destroyed or used for military purposes, depriving children of learning opportunities. The displacement of people and the destruction of social structures further break down trust and cohesion, leading to long-term issues like crime and social unrest. So let's go on strain on healthcare. Impacts on society. Let's tackle to healthcare strain. War overwhelms healthcare systems. Hospitals are damaged or destroyed, and the number of injured overwhelms available resources. The spread of infectious disease becomes common due to poor living conditions in conflict areas, like overcrowded shelters and unsanitary conditions. Development stagnation. So, this is impediment to development. War stalls economic infrastructure development. Resources are diverted into military spending and post-war reconstruction is slow. The loss of educated professionals and damaged infrastructure make long-term recovery difficult. Number 3 is global implications. The effects of war extend beyond national borders, creating refugee crises that strain neighboring countries and international systems. Economic instability spreads globally, affecting markets and raising costs. Additionally, there is a moral duty for the global community to intervene and address these issues, as conflicts have both humanitarian and economic consequences worldwide. So this illustrates the broad and devastating effects that war has on both local and international scales. So, pumunta naman tayo sa the role of international humanitarian efforts. So, the first one is humanitarian aid and relief. When we say humanitarian aid and relief, international humanitarian organizations play a crucial role in providing aid and relief to war victims. Organizations such as the International Committee of the Red Cross or ICRC and Medicines Sans Frontieres or MSF offer medical care, food, water, and shelter to those affected by conflict. So their efforts are vital in alleviating immediate suffering and saving lives. Advocacy and awareness. Raising awareness about the plight of war victims is essential for mobilizing international support. Advocacy efforts by organizations like Amnesty, International and Human Rights Watch highlight human rights abuses and call for accountability. These efforts aim to put pressure on governments and international bodies to take action and support war-affected populations. So this is cited by Amnesty International 2018. So the last one is peace building and reconstruction. Reconstruction long-term solutions to the plight of war victims involve peace building and reconstruction efforts. International organizations and governments must work together to rebuild infrastructure, restore social services, and promote economic development. Peace building initiatives focus on reconciliation, justice, and the establishment of stable governance structures to prevent future conflicts. And this is cited by Galtung 1969. So the role of international humanitarian efforts outline the key roles of international humanitarian efforts in addressing the needs of war victims. So the number one is humanitarian aid and relief. So international organizations such as the ICRC and MSF provides essential aid to those affected by conflicts. So this aid includes medical care, food, water, and shelter, all of which help alleviate immediate suffering and save lives. These efforts are crucial in crisis situations where local resources may be insufficient or destroyed due to war. So the second one is the advocacy and awareness. Organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch work to raise awareness about the human rights abuses and suffering of war victims. So by highlighting these issues, they aim to mobilize international support and apply pressure on governments and global institutions to intervene, protect human rights, and provide necessary support to those affected by conflict. So, ito namang peace building and reconstruction. So, beyond immediate relief, there's a need for long-term recovery efforts. Peace building focuses on reconciliation, justice, and rebuilding societies torn apart by conflict. So this includes restoring infrastructure, social services, and promoting economic development to prevent further conflict and ensure sustainable peace. These efforts involve collaboration between international organizations and governments to create stable governance structures and foster lasting peace. So that's all. Thank you. So overall, the international humanitarian efforts play a